If you're a single woman over 40 looking for Mr. Right and you're ready to learn the most underrated skill to save time and heartache, you're in the right place. In this episode, as an intuitive love coach, I'm sharing how to access your intuition to find love. Welcome to episode 2 of season 3. We're talking all about intuition and how to master your intuition to find love in season 3. So we're going to get into today how to tap into your intuition. And if you want to go back and learn the basics of intuition, you can listen to episode 1 where we did the foundational basics. Today we're going to talk about how to actually tap into it. You can go back to season 1 and listen to my story, the first couple of episodes of my story and how I got here and how I became a dating coach. Right now, I'll tell you why you should listen to me on how to access your intuition. So I've been practicing with energy work and a Reiki teacher since 2010. And before that, I was into all of the things around holistic health and the body, mind, spirit connection. And so I've been really diving into these things and using them in my own life and with my clients and classes and courses and all the things that I do for many decades. And my own journey of developing my intuition was, of course, a layered process, and it took a lot of trial and error, which is why I'm here to let you know the ins and outs and the things to look for. And so you don't have as much of a bumpy ride as I did. So I did get a lot of messages when I was younger, but I would second guess myself. And that was the biggest downfall for me. I wasn't listening to my intuition. I was getting a lot of very clear signals and what you might call red flags and all of those things. But I was like, well, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this is just fear, or maybe I should just push through this. You know, for example, if you're dating someone and you're getting all these red flags, what I often hear is women saying, well, I just wanted to make sure that maybe it wasn't a bad time, or, you know, what if it gets better and I missed out on the biggest love affair I'm ever going to have? And so it was just a constant second guessing. And a couple of my relationships, one example is I actually proposed to my boyfriend at the time, which I thought was a great idea, until it all came crashing down afterwards. And I remember having a lot of red flags, a lot of warnings, like maybe this isn't the best idea. And what are you doing? Pump the brakes. And of course, I just kept going and said, no, this is the right thing. I really want to do this. That was just my mind and my stubbornness pushing me through that intuition that was saying, you know, this is not going to be the best thing for you. And that happened more than once. So I really know what it feels like to get a clear signal. And I'm sure if you're listening to this, you're a sensitive, intuitive woman and you're getting these signals, but you just don't know how to decipher it or how to really figure out what the messages are saying and where it's coming from. And that's why I want to talk about actually tapping into it, because the next logical step is going to be learning how to decipher and be really discerning around your messages. But first, let's talk about how to access it. So there's 3 main ways. One way is through your body. And this is another thing that I really had to practice. It did not come naturally to me. So it was all into energy work and into being in the energy and outside of my body. When it came to being in my body, I was very uncomfortable, and I didn't understand that my body was actually a huge piece of my intuition. And so that took many years of being comfortable in my body and accessing, you know, my physical structure, if you will, and being able to say, this is my body is helping me with this. And 2 ways that you can do this is through the yes or no, figuring out what your body signal is. Everyone has a specific yes and no in their body. So you can just do a quick example right here is standing up with your feet apart and just saying your name. My name is Eleanor. And your body will tip forward, you know, if that's true. So if that's your yes, your body will slightly tip forward, and you don't have to do anything. You're just standing there. You're grounded on your 2 feet, and just let it naturally happen. And you can say, I am a dog, or I live in a different part of the world. Like you can say, I live in China. And if that's not true, your body should tip backwards slightly. This is a very well-known way of actually starting to use your body to ask questions. And if you've ever heard of muscle testing, that's another example of that. People will hold a bottle of supplements to their chest and have their arm out, straight out beside them, and then have someone push on their arm. And if their arm drops straight down, that means that that is a no. In essence, your body is saying, no, I do not want this supplement. And if your arm stays really strong, then that means that's a yes. So those are a couple of ways to determine what is your yes and no. And the other way is to tune in. So sitting comfortably for a couple of minutes or even 1 minute, doing a few deep breaths in and out to get settled. And then asking yourself, what is my yes? And having your body answer you. For example, my yes is when my chest feels very open and lifting up. So it's almost like a flower in my chest starts to blossom, or the petals start to open. So it feels like a lightening, an uplifting feeling, and an opening in my chest. And for me, a no, so you would do the next thing would say, what is a no in my body? And then see where your senses start to go. So for me, my stomach will clench, or I'll feel like I'm getting a sort of, I describe it like a cattle prod in my stomach. It's a jolt of adrenaline, and it's a kind of a feeling of shock or dread or like, ugh. And my body will very strongly tell me that's a no. Once you have your yes and your no, you're in a very good place. That's the first part, is accessing your intuition through your body. The next part is to access your intuition through your heart. Asking your heart, what is your heart telling you? What does my heart desire? And your heart is a very special place in your body and in your energy field, and it can really give you a lot of information in different ways. The simple way to access your heart is just put your hand on your heart, close your eyes, take a few deep breaths, and imagine yourself breathing into your heart. You can also symbolically visualize a light in your heart. The energy color of the heart is green or pink. You can visualize those colors and see them blossoming open. Once you do that, you can really feel your heart almost starting to activate or feel more alive. And when you do that, you can ask, what is my heart telling me today? Or you can ask, how am I feeling? Or you can say, what is my heart's desire? It takes some practice to actually figure out what your heart is saying. It can come through in a feeling. It can come through in a visual picture. You see something like a scene before you. Maybe you feel something. Maybe you see a symbol. Maybe you get all of a sudden an idea or some kind of inspiration. Those are all the ways that your heart talks to you. And as you begin to access all of these places and ways of getting to your intuition and tapping into it, it will become more clear. It will be easier to do this. And the last piece is through your visualization, meditation, and archetypes. This is more going on an inward journey. You would spend some time in a quiet space with your eyes closed, and you could be seated or laying down, it doesn't matter. And you can go in through your heart space, putting your hand on your heart and starting to breathe, connecting to your body, connecting to yourself. If you have a connection to a religious or spiritual practice, you can call on the universe or God or source and bring in some otherworldly help, if you will, and then start to visualize with your mind's eye, connecting to your body, your heart, and then start to call forward what I call archetypes, are forms that take on different meanings, such as the mother, the child, all different types of things. The saboteur, even, there's a whole bunch of different archetypes, and they're mainly through Carl Jung and other people like Caroline Myss. They've done a lot of archetype work, and so you can read their books and check out what the archetypes are, because there are many. But you can call on a certain one. So maybe it's the warrior. you want to call on the warrior and see what form it takes for you, because everyone's going to have a different visualization or a different representation of the warrior. Maybe it comes through as like a Wonder Woman or something like that, or could be a goddess. And then when you start seeing this archetype, you can have a connection with it. You can start asking, what wisdom are you giving to me today? What can I learn from you, warrior archetype? Or if you're looking for more confidence, you can call on an archetype that is very confident and see what comes through. And it doesn't really even matter what form it takes. It could be an animal even. I've seen many animals as archetypes in my own practice. I've had different power animals like the bear or the wolf, or all of these very powerful animals, and those have been my archetypes many times when I'm asking for clarity. I'm asking for a deeper connection to my subconscious, to the part of me that knows all the answers, what I call your true self. And so this is another beautiful way to access your intuition in a very deeply connected, introspective, and reflective kind of way. You can use all of these or just one. You can focus on one at a time for a period of time. So like 30 days, you're practicing connecting through your body, your yes and your no, and asking your body questions and connecting to different parts of your body. And then you can spend another 30 days checking out, how does my heart interact with me and what does my heart have to say? And then you can go on to another 30 days of visualizing, of speaking with your archetype, asking if there's any wisdom or anything that they have to teach you or to tell you. And this is really about connecting to all the parts of yourself, all of the aspects of you that are going to give you the information, the wisdom, the guidance beyond practical strategy, beyond the ins and outs of your daily life, of dating, of, what kind of dating plan should I make? And I'm all about the practical strategies. I love that. But you also need that deeper connection to yourself, because this is what's going to override your fears and get you all tangled up in things that you don't want, chasing after unavailable guys who are not the right person for you. And it just really helps you bypass a lot of that sidetracking. And I know in the spiritual community, people talk about, well, I had to learn this lesson, or, that's okay. I spent 2 years with this person, and that's fine. But after a certain amount of years, especially when you're getting into your 40s and beyond, it's like, I don't really have time to be going through this years of learning or my spiritual journey of lessons, in quotes. I firmly believe that we can really start to get very intentional and more efficient in what we're doing as we get older. That's the whole point. We want to really get wiser as we get older. So lean into these things that you're learning and start to do things differently than in your 20s. And I'm not being judgmental here. I'm not trying to shame you and say, you shouldn't be having any lessons and you shouldn't have any missteps and you should get everything perfect. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm saying that you can make your journey a lot more intentional and speed it up and go through that trajectory a lot more quickly. As you probably know from doing a lot of inner work on other things in your life, you've realized that you can actually go through emotional ups and downs a lot more quickly. You can reset yourself better and just be more quickly cycling and upcycling rather than spending so much time on your ups and downs. That's all I'm saying. And everything is okay. The other part of this is having that compassion. So first piece is having awareness, the awareness of what your intuition is telling you and guiding you through. And then having the acceptance that maybe you have done things and gone in circles and repeated yourself and had a hard time with boundaries or a hard time recognizing that it was the same kind of relationship over and over again. And we need to really accept everything that has happened up until this point and say, that's okay. And then the last part is connecting. So connection is a beautiful part of the journey. And that's what I'm talking about right now, is connecting to yourself. your true self through your body, through your heart, through the visualization and archetypes and connecting into your subconscious. And that's the journey of developing your intuition and accessing it through those points. And you can pick a favorite and say, I just really love working with archetypes. I was obsessed with archetypes for so many years, and I still do use a lot of symbolism in following my guidance. And that's really how my intuition speaks to me, is through a lot of symbols and archetypes. And so I've talked about in other episodes about my connection to the daisy. Whenever I see a daisy flower or I hear the word daisy or something connected to the daisy, I know that I'm heading in the right direction. And it's amazing how it will show up for me. It could be a giant daisy painted on the back of a door. That happened once. A giant daisy on a billboard, if it's really a big yes, or anything in between, like people talking about, oh, this is my dog named Daisy. I always perk up my ears when I see or hear about a daisy. That's how much of a connection and a relationship you can build with your intuition. It's really the bridge and the gap and the connection between you and your regular day-to-day life and the divine or God or the universe, and helping you to guide you to find the love that you desire. That's what this is all about. If you want to use this tool, it is the most amazing and the hands down life-changing thing that I have been working with for many decades, and that has really moved the needle and helped me to change my life and be in living my life purpose in love and life and all of it, all the things, in a much bigger way than if I had just gone about my life through strategy and logic, which it still has a place. And I'm not saying you're going to sit at home and meditate and not do anything. You also have to take the action and follow the logical steps of life. When you're dating, you have to put yourself out there, have conversations, interact with people. All of those things are very important. But when you pair it with your intuition, it's going to be a much more joyful and enriching experience and a much easier experience in the bigger picture. I just want to get into a couple of things around what might get in the way of tapping into your intuition or accessing it. When we think about mindset, I've said this time and time again, listening to other people too much. When you're tapped in and accessing your intuition, it might be the opposite of literally what anyone else is telling you. Your family members might be saying one thing, your friends are saying another thing, your coworkers, you turn on the news and the media and that's saying something else. But your intuition is quietly and consistently and lovingly pointing you in another direction. So that's what you need to listen to. Don't get sidetracked by listening to other people. And on the flip side of that, too much of your own self-talk in your mind, being in your head too much, and then having critical self-talk. That's where you get all the self-doubt, where you're like, I don't know if I should do this. This is my intuition is saying this, but it seems crazy. I don't think I should listen to it. And going back and forth like a ping pong ball, that's only going to serve a lot of suffering and make you so confused. Keep that in mind. You want to lean in to this voice, this intuitive, beautiful, wise voice, and trust that and listen to that and see what happens. Because I'm guessing up until now, you've been listening to your logic and you've been in your head, and that's not working for you. We also want to look at how our emotions get in the way. If you have a lot of big emotions, like you're afraid, you're sad about your situation, you're sad about being single, you're just swimming in this tidal wave of emotions that you haven't really processed and they're just making a lot of noise. That's where you really want to deal with those emotions and process them. I remember many years ago when I was in my deep healing phase, and I thought I was doing great because I had done all this energy work and healing on myself and what I thought was inner work, which it was. But a friend of mine who's a healer said to me, you think you've dealt with your traumas, but you're not actually dealing with your trauma. And I dismissed it. I was like, what are you talking about? I've been doing all these things. I've been on this path for so long and I am doing all the things. And of course he was right, because I realized when I actually did get into processing my emotional trauma, it was so life-changing for me in terms of being able to hear that beautiful voice, being able to be more confident, more intentional when all of that other stuff was cleared away. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be healed to be doing this, to be really good at this. I'm still a work in progress. I still work on childhood stuff. I still spend time healing my inner child and moving through emotions. It's a lifelong process. It's your life's work, really, is to process things that come up. But it will get easier and you will be able to hear your intuition much more easily when you've cleared out a lot of the mess from the past and things that are really bogging you down. Just keep that in mind. And then the flip side of the emotional thing is being tuned into other people's emotions to the extreme. That would be people pleasing or a tendency to be codependent. That means that you're too focused on other people's experience and other people's emotions, and that can be just as extreme and drown out your wisdom as much as your own emotions, if not more. And one of my simple things that I do that I find really effective is just, if you feel like your emotions are all over the place, you can close your eyes, put your hand on your heart and say, is this mine? And just take a deep breath into that. And I find a lot of times you'll have a weight lifted off of you, because the answer is no, this isn't even mine. I'm not even feeling this. I'm just picking up on all of the emotional garbage around me, and I can just let that go. Being aware of that is very important. And then taking the action when you practice accessing your intuition. I want you to start practicing it out in the real world. You get some image or some kind of insight from your intuition that says, yes, go to this party or join this club or talk to this person or let someone know how you feel. When you follow that and listen to it, it could be even in baby steps. You try the easiest one first, and then it's like, wow, that really worked, or that led me to this amazing experience and this wonderful date. I want you to put it into action to start practicing it. It's going to become more and more a wonderful experience for you, feeling more connected, feeling more at home with yourself. And that in turn will really amplify your magnetism. It will amplify your connection and attraction to other people, and it will make things so much more joyful and an easier path for you. I hope this has been really helpful for you on accessing your intuition. And next episode, we're going to talk about how to know the difference between your intuitive messages versus fears and your head, or even your inner saboteur or self-sabotaging thoughts. And I know a lot of people ask me about this, so please tune in if this is one of your issues that you struggle with. And we'll see you next time. Remember, love is closer than you think.